You need to know.
Netflix buffering, YouTube spinning, devices not connecting, Zoom calls dropping. It's frustrating. Let's end your frustration by signing up for fiber internet in Clinton. Click the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. Clinton Schools is excited to introduce the 2025-2026 Teacher of the Year candidates for the Clinton School District. According to the district, the candidates lead by example and embody all of the characteristics of an effective educator. These individuals are patient, approachable, enthusiastic, lifelong learners, strong communicators, and ultimate professionals. They excel at creating an engaging classroom environment, teaching so all students can succeed, effectively collaborate, and exchange ideas and best practices with colleagues, and are able to adapt to an ever-changing, challenging learning environment. They encourage and invite letters of support for any of the candidates. Letters can be sent to the TOY Committee, or TOY, in care of Jesse Peterson, CES 701 Illini Drive, Clinton, Illinois 61727. If you would prefer, letters may be emailed to jpeterson@cusd15.org. Please make sure your letter is delivered by April 10th, 2026. Candidates include Nathan Wheeler, who teaches music at Clinton High School, Claire Holloway, who teaches social studies at Clinton High School, Kelby McMath, who teaches social studies at Clinton Junior High School, Stacy McMath, who teaches English and forensics at Clinton Junior High School, and Kristen Wilson, who teaches math at Clinton Junior High School. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, the McLean County Museum opens Route 66 hallway displays. A local fire department will be collecting blood with the guarantee that it will benefit local people in need. Captain Troy Lashbrook with the Kenney Fire Department explains that their annual blood drive will be taking place on April 3rd. Impact Life Regional Manager Michelle Trunnell adds that the name for the event is Heroes for Life, which honors local first responders.
Going to be Friday, April 3rd. That's Good Friday. We do one Good Friday every year. It's the only one that we host. It's from 11:15 to 6:30 at the Kenney Firehouse.
For sure. We like to recognize our partners based on what they do for the communities.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought Heroes for Life was very fitting for our volunteer fire department here in Kenney. All the advocacy they do when they host this blood drive. They ask every single person they run into if they want to donate blood at their blood drive. They collect anywhere between 100 and 150 units in one day. So they definitely deserve that. So blood is made up of three components. So if you just take that number, say we collect 100, that can be 300 components out in the community to help people in need.
The Kenney Fire Department began its partnership with Impact Life just a few years ago. Trunnell says they make sure the blood stays local by having relationships and connections with local medical centers.
Impact Life, we are the local blood bank. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are throughout 4 states, Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Missouri. We serve over 120 hospitals, and all of those are local. So when you donate with us, you're donating with your local community.
We want to help the people in our communities. And most people that come to donate with us, that's their reason for coming. Just like making a monetary donation to the high school or something, it's going to stay right here.
So I think it's just important to focus on where you're at. We have been able to connect with the local hospitals and provide them the good service, the amount of blood units that they need. And that's really what keeps the partnerships going.
Lashbrook notes that the blood drive began 8 years ago and was proposed by Fritz Robinson. Since then, it has become a passion for the Kenney Fire Department, and he feels that this is one of the many ways they can continue serving the community.
Actually, one of our members, about 8 years ago, he said, I want to do a blood drive. So it actually was Fritz Robinson's idea. I volunteered to help him. It's something that's actually very dear to me and Fritz, or Fritz and I should say. We've gotten Kerry Coles to jump on board, and Fritz's son, Brian, also has jumped on board with this. We just try and set goals every year and beat them. I had a goal a couple of years ago. I wanted the largest blood drive in the state of Illinois. We can't compete with the Chicago and St. Louis markets, but we accomplished that.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, we were told we had the largest community blood drive in 4 states. And again, that's all thanks to the community, Fritz's forethought of wanting to do it, and he picked this day. It was amazing. It's just been amazing.
The Heroes for Life blood drive takes place on April 3rd from 11:15 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. at the Kenney Firehouse. Learn more by finding the Kenney Fire Department on Facebook. Register at bloodcenter.org. It is a big year for communities along the Mother Road as the country celebrates the 100th anniversary of Route 66. Candace Summers with the McLean County Museum of History explains that they have recently unveiled a new hallway display filled with artifacts related to Route 66 and its impact on local communities. She finds the economic impact on smaller McLean County communities to be especially interesting.
Yeah, so our hallways are filled with artifacts on display right now. There's several displays we have currently, one of which is a display on Route 66, and it explores the history of Route 66, why that route was created, and most importantly, the economic impact that it had on communities like those in McLean County. About 40 miles of Route 66 goes through the heart of McLean County. So communities like Chinoa, Lexington, Towanda, Bloomington Normal, Funks Grove, Shirley, and this village of McLean all benefited from that route. And businesses grew up along the route. So iconically in Chinoa, Steve's Cafe, or well-known here in Bloomington, Bob Johnson's Brantville and its claim to fame, giant chicken on its roof that advertised its fried chicken. And none of these businesses, we don't think would have flourished if it wasn't for Route 66, literally going right by their doors. Route 66 helped communities along the route grow and prosper, helped small businesses, especially service stations. Service stations popped up all across the route, and some of the artifacts that my colleague Bailey Babbitt, that she put together in those displays, show some of those businesses, like service stations here in Bloomington Normal. We have service station attendants' uniform, some of the tools they would have used to, fix up cars.
Summers indicates that all of the items on display are a part of the museum's collection, most of which have come from donations by community members. She says that this helps them find the true story of each artifact.
So all these things that are on display are in our collection, and they are typically donated by people who lived in or worked in McLean County. And so we have, information about the donor, a little bit of their life story. So it's really cool to not just learn about how these artifacts fit in the grander scheme of the history of Route 66, but what stories they tell about the person that used them in their everyday lives. The person who drew the really cool image of Brant Center, which became Brantville, that was along Route 66. So not only can you learn about that 66 history, but you can learn about the people who helped make that history by coming and seeing the artifacts that tell that story. We also have, kind of gives me very Thelma and Louise vibes, a woman's kerchief, that like you would put over your head, sunglasses, car culture, drive, you wouldn't want your hair to get messed up. And artwork, we have, drawings and renderings, places in Bloomington Normal on display. And all of that helps tell the story about the impact Route 66 had on McLean County. And it'll be up the rest of the year, so you have plenty of time to come see it. But it's a perfect time during the centennial of Route 66 to come and learn about that local impact. We all know about the Mother Road through the whole United States, but what did it do for places like those towns in McLean County?
The Route 66 Centennial Display will be up for the remainder of the year. Visit the McLean County Museum of History, located at 200 North Main Street in Bloomington. Learn more at mchistory.org. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
March into Baum Chevrolet Buick and march out with a new Chevrolet. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. We have over 20 Silverados to fit your daily work needs in 1500, 2500, and 3500s in gas or diesel, all sale priced. Also, check out the Colorado pickup. This size and maneuverability may be another option as well. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. Baum Chevrolet Buick, right from the start.
News time is 20 minutes after the top of the hour. You are listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Last Thursday was Slam the Scam Day, raising awareness around scam trends and avoiding the unfortunate occurrence of becoming a victim of a scam. Jack Myers with Social Security indicates there are common tells to indicate whether you are facing a scam attempt or not. He describes these as the 3 Ps.
Yeah, so there are some telltale scam signs. You know, one of the things is kind of like we call it the 4 Ps. There's pretend, there's prize or problem, pressure, and payment. So to break that down a little further, pretend, that part's kind of obvious. You know, the scammer is pretending to be from some sort of government agency. The prize or problem, that's where the hook, if you will, comes in. You know, they're promising you some sort of prize or extra payment, or they're presenting you with a serious problem that they're claiming exists, and you're facing potential trouble, or you're facing the loss of your income or the loss of your assets. So they're using that prize or problem to create pressure. They're putting pressure on you to act immediately because, hey, who wants to miss out on that special payment that's coming? Or who wants to face the problem that, you know, being in trouble would present? Or, you know, who wants to lose their money? So these are the types of situations they're creating, and they're trying to create that pressure.
Myers, the unfortunate reality is that if you've made a payment to an imposter, it is very unlikely to get that money back. Myers says it is best to always verify, hang up, disengage, and reach out to a verified contact before making any payment of any kind.
At the back end, they're trying to get you to make some sort of payment, you know, whether it be, you know, you have to wire money, or you have to give them cryptocurrency, gift cards, cash. I've even heard, you know, situations where they want you to send cash, or they arrange payment, an opportunity to pick up cash payments. So, you know, these unfortunately are all types of payment that you can't get back. Once you relinquish them, you really don't get them back. So that's what they're going for. They're looking to get that money in a way that once you've given it over to them, you're not going to get it back. So they pretend, they create a prize or problem to force you to be pressured, and then they try to get some sort of payment out of you. So those are the things to look for, and those are the things that real government agencies just don't do.
Myers emphasizes Social Security will never text or email images of an employee's official government identification, suspend your Social Security number, threaten you with arrest or other legal action unless you immediately pay a fine or fee, require payment through a gift card, wire transfer, cryptocurrency, or cash, nor promise a benefit increase or assistance in exchange for payment.
Yeah, so we are going to occasionally call people. So I'm not going to sit here and say that Social Security will never call you, because we do call people sometimes. Typically, that's going to be because you've scheduled an appointment. All right, so you've set up an appointment. You know that a call is coming at a certain date and time because that's your appointment time. So that's something for you to be aware of. If you've initiated contact with us and are expecting a call, then you can feel pretty comfortable about that when the call comes in. If there is a problem on a person's record, because we strive to pay the right person the right.
In 2025, the Federal Trade Commission received over 330,000 complaints of government imposter scams, up 20
amount at the right time. But with a
Social Security remains one of the most frequently impersonated agencies, with 34,621 reports, and tolls and DMV imposters at number one with 154,330 reports. Almost 14% of those reporting an SSA imposter scam said they lost money to a scammer, and almost $111 million was lost to scammers impersonating Social Security. Scams should be reported as soon as possible. If it is Social Security related, you can report it at oig.ssa.gov. Other types of imposter scams can be reported at reportfraud.ftc.gov. A rainy start to March, with the first 2 weeks staying active. But what about the final 2 weeks of the month? John Baranek is an agricultural meteorologist with DTN.
Honestly, it does look like we might be getting into some colder air, especially up towards me in Minnesota and into southern Canada. How far south that can push. The farther south it pushes, the more that storm track moves down towards the southern U.S. into the Gulf. So we'll have to see. I mean, Illinois honestly right now looks like it's kind of going to be on the edge of it. So if it stays kind of where the forecast is, we'll stay active for the second half of March. But if that colder air is a little bit more potent than models think it is right now, and that kind of tends to happen a lot in the long range forecast, the models really can't grab onto how cold this air is going to be. If it ends up being colder, that'll push that storm track farther to the south, and we'll stay on the colder side of things and maybe not get so much precipitation. So right now it looks like it'll probably stay active, but I think there's a possibility there that we turn drier for the second half of the month.
Astronomical spring begins on March 20th. Meteorological spring was ushered in on March 1st. Quantity and quality. Illinois FFA District Proficiency Awards were determined at 5 locations around the state last week. Luke Allen is the Chicago area program advisor for facilitating coordination in agricultural education.
So there are 5 sites around the state. This is kind of like sports sectionals. Students have interviewed to defend their record-keeping abilities in the work-based learning projects that they've taken on. So students set a career goal, they identify career interests, and they set a plan of things that they want to learn about. Then they keep records about their experiences and have the ability to interview against other students to evaluate their skill on record keeping and setting goals and accomplishing their educational goals. So there are 43 different career areas that students can apply for a technical proficiency award in. That is the event that we're doing. There will be just under 1,000 students at 5 sites with about 3,000 adults, volunteers who are evaluating and interviewing these students. And it is one of the things that students will look back on their high school experiences and say, wow, that really helped me grow and be prepared for life in the career of agriculture or whatever field they go into.
The district winners advance to the state championship next month. Now for your local obituaries. John Joseph Coomer, 71, of Clinton, passed away peacefully at 4:30 p.m. February 26th at his home in Clinton. Graveside services will be 11 a.m. Saturday, March 21st at St. Patrick's Cemetery in Tama, Iowa, with Friar Peter Gia officiating. The family has entrusted Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton with arrangements. Memorials may be directed to Second Chance for Pets. Michelle R. Cusi, 61, of Wapella, passed away at 11:03 p.m. March 4th at her family residence in Wapella. No services are planned at this time. The family has entrusted Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton with cremation rights. Memorials may be directed to Second Chance Pet Adoption. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The U.S. and Israel have yet to take out all of Iran's missile launchers. Israel continues dealing with incoming missiles, some of them shot down, others not. Other Iranian neighbors also seeing incoming missile fire from the Islamic Republic. Oil prices, which had spiked earlier to almost $120 per barrel, have now fallen back to under $100. AAA's national average for a gallon of regular gas, $3.48. That's $5.20 per gallon in California. The Iran war has claimed the life of a seventh U.S. service member. The individual died of injuries sustained in an Iranian strike on a Saudi military base. 6 suspected narco-terrorists have been killed in the U.S. military strike on an alleged drug-running boat in the Eastern Pacific. On Wall Street, Dow futures down more than 600 points. This is SRN News.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I had a lot of credit card debt, and it stressed me out. But what I thought was a solution turned out to be a problem. I kept hearing ads about debt settlement that seemed too good to be true. And actually, it was. When I called, they told me to stop paying my bills. That didn't sound right to me at all, so I hung up. Later, I found out that debt settlement is bad, real bad. Then I learned that there is a right way to pay off your credit cards. It's called a debt management program from the great team at Trinity. Trinity had a plan. In the end, I paid off my bills, I saved thousands, and I even improved my credit score.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5496.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-936-5496.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. When Normal West opens its regular season next week on the baseball diamond, Coach Christopher Hawkins will be working with one of the youngest and most inexperienced teams he's had in his nearly 30 years of coaching. Coach Hawkins had a strong group of seniors from last year's team, and unfortunately for him, only a handful of underclassmen saw playing time at the varsity level.
It was a fun year. We had a lot of ups and downs, but 11 seniors, it was definitely a solid foundation of some really tough kids. You mentioned Cooper Temples. He played the entire season with a torn ligament in his throwing elbow, and he played shortstop for us. He was a football player. He's like, Coach, I'm never going to be a pitcher. And he had the injury, believe it or not, in football. He's like, I'm not getting it fixed. I'm not a pitcher. We thought he'd probably have to play second, but he ended up playing short. But he was kind of that core nucleus of toughness, and that group they got along really well, Seth. I thought we overachieved a bit. Several of those guys had not played baseball the year before at the varsity level, several of those seniors. We ended up having 3 or 4 seniors that played a huge role that didn't play varsity baseball as juniors. And Cooper was one. He was out injured. He had a breakout year. And Chase Knuth and Ryder Kuhn, those 2 guys that were on last year's team, are now coaching on my staff. They're both they're taking a gap year, and they're working for the in town here, and they're going to be helping our lower levels. And I've got 6 alums on our coaching staff right now from the last, 15 years of my coaching. I got 6 somewhere in the levels. I got 6 different alums with me. So I'm excited about a new year, and we're going to be on. Chase Reinhardt ends up being 4A All-State first team as a sophomore. And so when we say overachieved, we didn't expect, him to be at that level. He ends up getting a scholarship offer to Creighton University. So, but he's got, 2 more years of baseball. Sam McCauley, of course, caught pretty much every game for us as a sophomore last year. So coming in this year, having that core is going to be fantastic. And yeah, they really played like upperclassmen last year as sophomores.
There are a few sophomores that the team will rely on this year that Coach Hawkins is very excited about. He says this will be the youngest team he's probably had in his nearly 30 years at Normal West.
So we're going to be moving guys around. We're going to be probably the youngest team I've ever had. We have no returning seniors on the varsity this year. So no one that played varsity baseball is senior, and that's unprecedented in our program. We had 1 senior on our varsity basketball team this year. At a school of our size, it's rare, but I'm sure excited to see how things are going to shake out. So yeah, we're gonna have some freshmen and sophomore up making some big contributions. And we're really excited about some of these younger guys that are gonna come up and get an opportunity. And just because our senior class, we just don't have a lot of baseball players in our school right now. I did have a freshman varsity last year named Ty Bachman. He was 4-2 on the mound as a freshman, and he has grown 2 inches. He gained 30 pounds. He and Chase Reinhardt are the fastest 2 kids in the program. So at 6'3", 193, he's a sophomore. He's running a 6'9", 60-yard dash. He's in mid-80s on the mound, and really a very quality hitter that'll be in the middle of our lineup this year. So sophomore Ty Bachman. And then we've got a couple other sophomores right now through this tryout are trying to make their way.
On top of being young, Coach Hawkins indicates he is going to be without his top returning pitcher, who is down due to Tommy John surgery. The hope is he can maybe be in the lineup as a DH later this spring.
Chase Reinhardt, who was our returning, number 1 pitcher in 4A All-State, at the end of the summer, he had some arm pain, ended up having a partial tear in his ligament in his elbow. So he had Tommy John over the off season, but he's to the point now. Luckily for us, he's to the point now where he's going to be able to possibly play some first base in early April and then start throwing a little bit more and doing some bullpens. We don't know where it's going to go. We're not going to rush anything. He may not throw it all for us this spring, but again, he's only a junior, and other people are going to get opportunities to pitch, and they're going to be young guys. So I'm really excited, Seth, for these kids to get some varsity opportunities at a young age. So, trying to find some silver linings in the fact that we are going to be young, but I don't think that means that we're not going to win a lot of games. I'm really excited. We just don't have a lot of stats to say, hey, we got this guy returning in the 3-hole who had 8 home runs. We don't have that. So I'm really excited I think I'm going to have a bunch of surprises that we're going to be able to brag about and celebrate in the season.
Yeah, for sure.
The Wildcats will be dropping down to 3A this year. Coach Hawkins hopes that while the record may not end up where it traditionally does, his hope is that his team is battle-tested through a rigorous non-conference slate and Big 12 conference schedule to turn some heads when the postseason arrives. In high school boys basketball Super-Sectional championship matchups tonight, in Class 1A, 1-seed Leroy will play top-seeded Lawrenceville at Eastern Illinois University at 7 p.m., while 2-seed Tremont takes on the 2nd-seed Eastland at Western Illinois University at 7 p.m. In Class 2A, top-seeded Quincy Notre Dame plays 1-seed Benton at Southern Illinois University at 7 p.m., while top-seeded Tolono Unity takes on 1-seed McNamara at Pontiac at 7 p.m., and 1-seed Peoria Manual plays top-seed Johnsburg at Sterling at 7 p.m. In Class 3A, the 1-seeded Decatur MacArthur plays top seed East St. Louis at the Bank of Springfield Center at 7 p.m. David Mirkovic had 22 points and 11 rebounds as the number 11 Illinois Fighting Illini held off the Maryland Terrapins 78-72 on Sunday. The Terrapins fall to 11-20 and 4-12 in the Big Ten. They have a desultory season under first-year coach Buzz Williams, losing 20 games for the first time since the 1988-89 season. But they gave the Illini a battle, who improved to 24-7 and 15-5 in the Big Ten. Illinois led 63-62 before Ben Hummerkaus made a three-pointer that started a 7-0 run for the Illini. The Terps pulled back within two, but a successful challenge of an out-of-bounds call enabled the Illini to keep the ball within 1 minute and 4 seconds to play. Mirkovic worked free for a layup inside, and Maryland's next possession went about as badly as possible when the Terrapins used most of the shot clock before Andre Mills misfired from three-point range. Maryland was down 4 in the final seconds when Darius Adams was unable to convert a layup. Mills scored 30 points for the Terps, Adams added 14 points, and Diggy Coit contributed 10. Illinois won despite shooting 5 of 24 from three-point range. Kylan Boswell and Keaton Wagler scored 11 points apiece. Illinois awaits its quarterfinal opponent in the Big Ten Conference Tournament. Maryland as the number 17 seed in the Big Ten Tournament. The Terps will play in the event's opening game Tuesday against 16th seeded Oregon. The Illinois State baseball program dropped the final game of its series against Eastern Kentucky 10-6 Sunday afternoon at Earlcombe Stadium in Richmond, Kentucky. The Redbirds secured the lead in the opening frame after junior Ryan Bakes drove in Luke Stolga on a sacrifice fly to take a 1-0 advantage. A frame later, Illinois State added another run via a sacrifice fly from graduate Camden Karchewski, who brought in Eric Machej to give the Redbirds a 2-0 lead. After 4 scoreless innings, Eastern Kentucky claimed the lead with 4 runs in the bottom of the 5th with a pair of RBI singles and a 2-run double to take a 4-3 advantage. In the following inning, the Redbirds responded as junior Michael Carano recorded a pinch hit triple to score McHarg to tie the contest at 4-4. Carano later scored on a sacrifice fly to give the Redbirds a 5-4 lead. Following the Redbirds' response, the Colonels reclaimed the lead with a 2-run single to take a 6-5 lead in the bottom half of the 6th. A frame later, Eastern Kentucky extended its advantage with a 2-run home run to make the score 8-5. In the 8th, the Colonels added a pair of runs to push their lead to 10-5. In the final inning, the Redbirds pulled a run back to make the score 10-6 after Carano tallied a solo home run. Illinois State attempted a rally late after adding a pair of runners with a single and a walk, but Eastern Kentucky held on to secure the victory. Illinois fell to number 20 USC 5-3 in its series finale at the Dedeaux Field in Los Angeles. The Illini took a 2-0 lead in the first inning before the Trojans accounted for the game's next 5 runs. A late Illinois rally was not enough as USC remained perfect in 2026. A.J. Putty and Will Johans posted 2-hit days at the plate, with 5 different Illini tallying a hit. Aiden Flynn earned the start while Kyle Remington and Reed Gannon entered in relief, with Gannon going 3 innings without conceding an earned run. Russell Westbrook had 23 points, 12 assists, and 11 rebounds for his NBA record 208th career triple-double, while the Sacramento Kings beat the Chicago Bulls 126-110 on Sunday night. Westbrook shot 7 of 17 with 3 3-pointers in 35 minutes. Colin Sexton made 7 3-pointers and scored 28 points off the bench for the Bulls. Josh Giddey had a triple-double with 15 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. Matis Buzelis scored 20 points, and Nick Richard had 10 points and 11 rebounds. Reynaud with 18 points, Monk with 14, and Westbrook with 10 got the Kings going in the first half. The trio shot a combined 16 for 29, sparking Sacramento to a 65-51 halftime lead. The Bulls play Tuesday at Golden State, while the Kings host the Pacers on Tuesday. Defenseman Miro Heiskanen scored 22 seconds into overtime to give the Dallas Stars a 4-3 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks on Sunday. Young Chicago star Connor Bedard forced the extra period by scoring with 1 minute and 20 seconds left in regulation, with the Blackhawks playing with an extra skater. Maverick Bourque had a goal and an assist for Dallas. Nathan Bastian and Justin Hirakawian also scored, and Casey DeSmith made 12 saves. Tyler Bertuzzi and rookie defenseman Sam Renzel also scored for Chicago, and Arvid Soderblom stopped 28 shots. The Blackhawks are 2-7-4 in their last 13. The Stars turned a 2-1 deficit going into the third period into a 3-2 lead on Bourque's goal 42 seconds in, and Hyrkorian's power play goal at 9 minutes and 40 seconds. The Blackhawks took a 2-0 lead in the first period on a deflection by Bertuzzi at 6 minutes and 59 seconds, and Renzel's blast from the slot fewer than 2 minutes later. Bastian scored Dallas's first goal late in the period. The Blackhawks complete a back-to-back by hosting Utah tonight to begin a home-and-home with the Mammoth. The Stars host Vegas on Tuesday night in the third game of a 6-game homestand. Joel Hofer made 22 saves in his fifth shutout of the season. Jonathan Drouin scored in his St. Louis Blues debut, and St. Louis beat the Anaheim Ducks 4-0 on Sunday night to sweep a 4-game trip. Jordan Kyrou, Jimmy Snuggerud, and Pius Suter also scored to help St. Louis win for the fifth time in 6 games since the Olympic break. Drouin was acquired from the Islanders on Friday at the trade deadline in the deal that sent Blues captain Braden Shen to New York. The left wing scored the second of 3 second-period goals, firing a slap-shot pass to Ville Husso on a power play with 9 minutes and 53 seconds left. Kyrou opened the scoring at 4 minutes and 22 seconds, snapping a shot from the right side to the far post on a 3-on-1 break. After helping set up Drouin's goal, Snuggerud added one of his own with a one-timer with 7 minutes and 49 seconds to go. After Anaheim successfully challenged Snuggerud's apparent goal midway through the third for offsides, Suter scored into an empty net with 4 minutes and 2 seconds to go. Husso stopped 31 shots. The Ducks completed a 9-game homestand, splitting the last 4 after winning the first 5. They were 0 for 6 on the power play against the Blues. The Blues host the New York Islanders on Tuesday night, while the Ducks are at Winnipeg on Tuesday night. In high school girls basketball, state championship scores from Saturday in the Class 1A championship. Top-seeded DMAC took down 1-seed Mount